Let's try another question that's not about distance, rate, time, but it does apply some of the same principles. I mean, with the idea that you might have to set up multiple equations. Um, and how this one's done is using two different bank accounts. So Abdul has a total of $1,000 to invest in two accounts. One account earns 5% interest and one account earns 8% interest. If the total interest earned at the end of the year is $71, how much was invested in the account earning 5% interest? So just that's the question, but then in this box, I thought it would be helpful to provide a little bit more help just explaining what's going on. So Abdul will decide how much of the $1,000 will be deposited in one account versus the other, right? So some amount will be deposited in the 5% interest account, and then the rest of that $1,000 will be deposited into the 8% interest account. So if X dollars, because we don't know how much, we don't even want to assume that Abdul is going to put exactly $500 in each of the two accounts, right? That might not happen. So we'll just say if X dollars is invested in the 5% interest account, then 1,000 minus X dollars should be invested in the 8% interest account. So here we're using this idea that the total deposited to the two accounts needs to add up to 1,000. So if one account gets X, the other account should get 1,000 minus X. This is the same principle as the alternate method for distances adding up in the types of distance problems we've looked at so far. So for example, right? Well, not for example. Let's take this a little further and just say things like, for example, if X was 250. So if $250 was invested in the 5% interest account, that account would pay, well, what's 5% of 250? So 0.05 times 250, whatever number that is, dollars of interest. So here's how we can really, after that brief discussion, talk about how we answer this. So let's have X represent the amount invested in the 5% account. And so 1,000 minus X is the amount invested in the 8% account. And then we'll take a look that the total amount of interest earned should be 0.05 times X. Again, it's X because over here we were just making up just to see what's going on. X isn't truly the number 250. We just said that for a moment just to see what's happening and how could we compute how much interest. So 0.05 times X, just like 0.05 times this made up number 250, that represents the amount of interest earned from one account. And then 0.08 times, well, how much was invested in the other account? 1,000 minus X. So after the plus sign before the equals, this shows you how many dollars were earned out of the interest from the second account. And we were told that the total amount of interest earned was $71. So the interest earned from one account plus the interest earned from the other account should add up to 71. Okay, then distribute 0.08. And then let's the left side had three terms. Two of the terms had X. The one term that didn't have X, subtract that on both sides. We can now factor out an X on the left side, divide both sides by what's in parentheses. Now we have X as a number by itself. Okay, so X again represented the amount invested in the 5% account. Going back to the original question, how much was invested in the account earning 5% interest? So here, X is exactly the thing we're looking for. So we'll just conclude that 71 minus 0.08 times 1,000 all over 0.05 minus 0.08 dollars was invested in the account earning 5% interest. For the 2020 tax year, the tax rate for single people is 10% for taxable income up to $9,875 after deductions, and 12% for taxable income between $9,875 and $40,125. So assuming someone is in the 12% tax bracket, how much taxable income does someone need to earn to pay $3,387 in tax? So those earning up to $9,875 of taxable income pay 10%. If somebody has a dollar more than that of taxable income, so if somebody has $9,876 of taxable income, what actually happens if we pay attention to how tax rates really work in the US, what happens is that they'll pay 10% on the first $9,875, and then on that one extra dollar, they'll pay 12% tax on that $1. So let's let X be the dollar amount of taxable income. You pay 10% of that first 9,875, so 0.10 times 9,875, and then we'll pay 12% on any income above that. So any of the rest of the income. So how much is the rest? Well, that's x minus 9875. So that number of dollars you have to pay 12% of. So 0.12 times that quantity, x minus 9875. So how much total taxes paid? It should be this kind of almost a flat rate for somebody who's making above 9875. So there's this 10% of 9875 plus 12% of the income in excess of 9875. So on the left, you're seeing how much, you're seeing in dollars, tax paid at the lower rate and then tax paid at the higher rate, slightly higher rate. That equaled a total of $33.87 paid in tax. And so then from this, we were going to find out X, which represents this person's taxable income. So distribute 0.12. Let's see, there's only one term with X in it. So how about we leave that term on the left side, subtract and add things on both sides so that all terms on the right have just numbers. The only X is on the left side, and divide both sides by 0.12. So that number, whatever it is, this person had that much dollars of taxable income. No need to simplify that number any further.